Hi, I'm Alex Birchie, and I'll be reading a piece of short fiction called The Great and Lamentable Tale of Richard Rockford. Richard Rockford was the politest, strongest, handsomest, most hardworking Christian man in all of Dale County, and we all knew it. He was second in command to his father at the lumber yard, and so strong was Richard Rockford that he could fell a tree as soon as look at it. He then proceeded to churn out the finest, smoothest floorboards you could imagine, polished down to a glassy shine you could see a reflection in. This may have been due, in part, to his terrific height and strength. The town barber had to lean out of a second-story window to give him a haircut. Every day, he would drink a pot of coffee and eat a tin of dry biscuits at breakfast, and for dinner, whereas most men would be contented with a steak, Richard Rockford would eat the entire cow, or several pigs and chickens. Whatever was in the larder, really. But he never complained to his mother when the Rockford family had to tighten their belts a little. No, Richard Rockford was the sweetest, kindest boy a mother could ask for. And every Sunday at church, Richard Rockford sang, carrying the choir on his shoulders. His voice once called down a wandering angel, who stopped to listen from the rafters and cried pearly tears of rapture. It was then that we knew that Richard Rockford was due for great things. Despite the tough times, we all figured he'd leave us and go to college, become an important politician, or have an office in a big city. But he stayed at his father's lumber yard, claiming there was nothing college could teach him he couldn't learn in Dale County. You see, along with his height and strength and pleasant disposition, Richard Rockford was as sharp as a tack. As shrewd a businessman as they come, he kept his father's lumber yard afloat through clever talk and honest negotiating, and his negotiating extended to the realm of conversation and social graces as well. Women swooned when he tipped his hat hello to them, and even the town spinster couldn't help but warm to his kindly remarks. It surprised us when he proposed to Gracie, the pastor's daughter. Sweet, quiet Gracie, but she looked so beautiful and happy on their wedding day, like that wandering angel, draped in white, and lit up like Christmas when Richard Rockford smiled at her that you couldn't help but feel happy for them. Even when the groom needed to be carried out of the reception hall by his best man on account of having imbibed so many drinks after so many toasts to his and Gracie's happiness. And they were happy. At least we all supposed so. You see, the trouble started when the lumber yard started having financial difficulties and poor Gracie fell down the porch stairs and sprained her ankle. Richard Rockford carried her to Dr. Bloom's office, and Dr. Bloom fixed her up. But 2 months later, she fell and broke her arm carrying Richard's dinner to the table. We all thought the stress must have made Gracie clumsy with worry about her sweet Richard. Then old Miss Margot saw Gracie pulling a clump of crabgrass out in the yard with a black eye, and told the pastor, who was just up in arms until Richard went to him and explained how Gracie'd run into a door frame bringing him a cup of water in the night, and things settled down for a while. We sat back and watched as Dale County got smaller, as the world outside of us got bigger. New roads found us, but everyone was leaving. The lumber yard made less and less money, and Richard Rockford started slumping into the half-emptied pews at church, smelling less like fresh-cut lumber yard wood and more like a bottle in a brown paper bag. With Gracie in tow, face shaded under her best Sunday hat. And he would stand and sing with the choir, but there were so few voices. Richard Rockford would sing louder and louder, but his words would start to stumble and waver in the empty air. Everyone worried that such a fine, talented man was wasting away under such a petty vice, but we held our tongues. Things will pick up at the lumber yard, we thought, and Richard Rockford will stop this nonsense, and Gracie won't fall over herself worrying over him anymore. Business did pick up a little, and Richard Rockford learned that he was going to be a father. He stopped smelling like cheap whiskey and smiled at Gracie like it was their wedding day every day. We genuinely believed that the Rockfords were going to be as happy as they deserved. And so would we. But then the lumber yard was in the red, and then it closed, and everything happened so fast, and suddenly no one in Dale County was hiring, and no one could find work, not even over in Wilkes County. Richard Rockford still sang in the empty church. It didn't matter. The angels weren't listening anymore. And then that night when the shouting came from the Rockfords' home, and then there was Gracie, framed against the light from the front door with Richard Rockford right on her heels, and he reached for her and she flew. She flew like that wandering angel down the porch stairs, and Richard Rockford shouted. And when the ambulance left with her, there was Richard Rockford on the curb, so small and alone that it hurt. It hurt to look at him, outlined by the open front door, head hanging in his hands. Thank you.